T-minus 1 minute. T-minus 50 seconds. T-minus 40 seconds. T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Own it, own it, own it, Kong. I own it. It did.
Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet. Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet.
What is going on, you guys? Welcome to Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet. Of course, if you don't know about the news, before we get started into our actual show, we want to send our condolences here to Jay Briscoe of the Briscoes. Of course, we've kind of been highlighting him on our channel all week, but we kind of want to, close it off here and pay our respects to him. He did pass away earlier this week, and it's very shocking and sad to get this news all of a sudden. So we just kind of wanted to pay our respects for that as well. Stephanie, when you heard about the news, how did you feel about it? Are you familiar with the Briscoes and things like that? Yeah.
Well, first of all, hello. And I do want to say, when it comes to the Briscoe brothers, the first time I saw them, it was on an episode of Ring of Honor. And it would show on Saturday nights and Sunday nights as well here in Birmingham. And I would watch him and his brother. And I remember the first time I saw them, for some weird reason, I thought they were African American, but they were very energetic in how they would perform. And I knew about them from, of course, hearing about them. And I found out they were a very decorated tag team, and I respected that. So getting this news Tuesday was really shocking. And very sad, because it just seemed like that tag team always had the world ahead of them. It was almost like they always had, so many different things to do. They were current champions as it stands, and it's just heartbreaking how fragile life can be. But the best part about his life is the fact that there are so many people who loved him and who cherished having him in their lives. And my thoughts and prayers and good energy just goes out to his family, his wife, his children, and especially his brother, who he worked with for so very long. Like, I can't even imagine dealing with a loss like that, because I have a sister myself and I love her to pieces, and I know how I would feel if I lost her. So I can only imagine how he's feeling right now. So my thoughts and prayers go out to anyone who loved him, and I just hope that they continue to find strength and peace in knowing that the love that they had for Jay Briscoe will always be enough, and it'll never end, even though he's not physically on this plane anymore.
Right. I definitely agree with that. Joseph said the wrestling community has supported Jay's family, and especially to see it felt like a dream, and he thought it was a hoax. I think a lot of us did. When you think about it, when you look at it, you're like, what? Like, whoa. It's like you see the news swarming all over on social media, and it's just like, okay, hold on. Wait. What do you mean? What are you talking about? But for it to be confirmed that it's true, it's just like, I got introduced to them, like I would say last year to be exact, and I got my first opportunity to see them at the Multiverse for Impact, and then since then I've been whenever I go to the Impact shows or pay-per-views and stuff like that, they will be there. So it kind of sucks that the last time I saw them were at Slammiversary. Um, but I think that it's gonna be it's just really quite shocking. I would have to say, but we definitely pay our respects to Jay Briscoe, his family, his brother, because his brother celebrated a birthday too. So it's a lot that's just going on and happening. So just send all condolences and love and support and prayers to them. But you guys, on a lighter note, you guys know why we're here. This is the Friday Night SmackDown and AEW Rampage post show. Of course, I am Driune Santana, your editor-in-chief here at Women's Wrestling Talk, and also one half of the only dominating tag team in Women's Wrestling Talk history, the Salt Shakers. And of course, this is my co-host, Queen Steph Hardy, is in the building with me. And we're back together this week. Last week I was at Hard to Kill. So
Yes.
now I'm back and Stephanie is here. And I mean, you never know what happens. Sometimes, we like to go do other things, you know what I'm saying? And we always come right back together.
Yeah, and you look like you had fun at Hard to Kill too. And that main event, whoo! All the emotions, and that main event was just so good. Like, kudos to Mickie James, the new knockout women's champion, and also kudos to Jordynne Grace. Like, they put on a heck of a show. I had a hard time watching Rampage and watching the end of Hard to Kill 2 on my phone. My brain was split between TV and phone, but I just knew I had to see it, because if this was going to be Mickey's really like last rodeo, and if that was going to be her last match, then I had to see it. And it was wonderful, and it turns out it wasn't her last match, but either way, it was still a beautiful showing. And to see you and Nikki there having fun was really cool too. So, last week I held down the fort. We were doing a good job with SmackDown and Rampage and a little bit hard to kill. So it was fine. But we are back together, and I'm happy that we are here.
We are, and I tell you, I think I am still recovering. I can't believe Hard to Kill was just last week. Like, it just feels like, after wrestling shows, it's just kind of like, dang, what I'm gonna do now? Like, I was just here last week, and now I'm back to my regular life. It's awful.
Right, like how do you get back to normal after that?
I have absolutely no idea. That's how I felt when I went to the whole WrestleMania weekend for the first time. It took me a while to unpack my bag. I will say. I don't know. I can't. But like I say, you guys know why we're here. I mean, we really have to. We have a swarm of the bloodline drama taking over tonight's SmackDown. I would have to say there's a lot of emotions and bags probably being packed real soon with the bloodline, and I think that my plan is coming full circle, as when I say that the bloodline will be ending this year. So let's start out with the opening of the show. I mean, here we are. You see the bloodline. Everybody's pulling up, rolling up. Of course, Sammy's doing his handshake with, with Jimmy, Jay, and all that stuff there. But when he gets to Roman, he tries, Roman, pound me up. Roman just like ignores the hell out of Sammy. Like, he leaves Sammy hanging. And it's like, oh no. Are y'all starting early? Like, what is? I mean, Solo, he's just standing, but he leaves Sammy hanging, and Sammy doesn't even know what to do. Like, all night, Sammy has been in like pretty much distraught on the fact of like, I don't even know what's going through Roman's head. Like, what have I done, or what is it? Like, what is the issue? You know what I'm saying? And Solo is just being Solo, but of course we do know that they had the contract signing for tonight between Roman and KO. I mean, Sammy's in shock. He doesn't even know what to do right now. You know, I won't even know how to feel if somebody I thought, was embracing me last week or a few, over the course of the months. And now it's like, you wake up today and it's like, you know what? I'm really not feeling you. I'm not. I don't like it.
Yeah.
Joseph said all over the fact that there are legitimate fears that Roman's 880 days as of Royal Rumble is in serious jeopardy with KO getting the third crack at Roman. That is very true. It seems as if like Roman and KO definitely holds it down at the Royal Rumble. But let's pretty much continue on. So we did find out that there is actually a SmackDown titles contenders tournament happening with a lot of teams. So we have Drew McIntyre. So just to go over the bracket wise, because I don't have, they didn't give me the full bracket. They just kind of give me half of it. So I'm going to read who's all on the list of the teams, and then we'll dive in. So, of course, we have Drew McIntyre and Sheamus, the Viking Raiders, Los Lotharios, Hit Row, the Brawling Brutes, Imperium, Maximum Male Models, and Legado del Fantasma. And, of course, we started off with the Tag Team Turmoil Tournament with the Viking Raiders and Sheamus and Drew, which, of course, this team has been formatting for quite a minute now, I would have to say. And this was a great opening, but Drew and Sheamus won. I was not expecting the Viking Raiders to win at all whatsoever, but it's nice to see Sheamus and Drew running this thing again. And I'm actually not really mad at it, at all whatsoever. I mean, they do advance to the next round, I would have to say. Later on within the show, we did get Los Lotharios. We got basically all the tag team matches tonight. So we had Los Lotharios, we had the Brawler vs. the Imperium, and we also had Maximum Models like that of the Fantasma. Drew and Sheamus advances, and then we find out later on tonight who will be in our semifinals going into next week. So Stephanie, with Drew and Sheamus becoming a tag, as if like, does this feel as if like Sheamus is like kind of, I wouldn't say moving away from the Brawling Brutes and having his own tag, but it would have been real interesting to see Drew and Sheamus and the Brawling Brutes in a match together.
Yeah, that would have been interesting, but I don't necessarily feel like this is like Sheamus sort of drifting away from the Brawling Brutes, because he was there to wish them good luck with their match. With their first round match backstage. So I won't say he's moving away from them. I would just say I feel like Drew McIntyre is probably the strongest asset that he has when it came to fighting against the Bloodline, and now that the Viking Raiders, started mess with them, which led, of course, to this match happening within the tournament. I wouldn't say he's away from the Brawling Brutes, but I just feel like Drew McIntyre was just the strongest guy, on his side. And, they have their storied rivalry and their friendship together too. So it's just, once you tie those things together, you can't really go wrong with that. So their partnership makes sense to me. Now, the only thing that doesn't make sense to me is the fact that it's like 1 minute they kind of like have the Viking Raiders look all strong and mystical at one point, and then the next minute they lose again. And it's just like, y'all were acting all big and bad last week, and then y'all have Valhalla giving you sort of like a prophecy from the Norse gods and everything, but then it's like when it comes down to handling what you need to handle to be the contenders for the SmackDown tag titles, that doesn't necessarily work. And it's just like, what am I supposed to believe about the Viking Raiders if you're not setting them up to really be, big and bad like they claim they are? But, Drew and Sheamus came out with the win, and I'm not mad about it. So, yeah.
I agree. I mean, they did all of these vignettes for the Viking Raiders. They had them, have their, situation with Hit Row and Los Lotharios, but it just seems as if like them, what else do you guys have for them?
Right.
Because right now, whatever it is not sticking at all whatsoever. But we'll definitely dive into more of the tag team tournament moving towards the show. We did get a backstage segment with you of one of many of the bloodline. Well, Roman, not Shayna, but Roman, Paul Heyman, and Sami Zayn. Sami looks very sad, and Paul looks very like, my tribal chief, please give Sami another chance. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what it is that you're going to say, but please give Sami another chance. He didn't do anything wrong. And
Yeah.
I mean, Roman really told him to get out. He told him to get out, run to Kevin. Like, he really like shut out Sami Zayn. And Paul just, he was hiding in his iPad. He was hiding behind his phone. He just didn't know what to do, what to say, how to feel. And Sami did end up leaving. And it's just like, wow. Wow. Like,
Really? Yes.
wow, Roman, this man has shown his loyalty to you. And you have decided that right now you want to kick him out and say you want to be a part of this family, this bloodline, and all this and that. No. Get out. Go run to Kevin.
Santana, Roman suffers as fine as he is, and as much as I've loved him for the past 10 years, Lord Jesus, it's been a ride. He sort of suffers from narcissistic personality disorder.
Oh God, here we go.
This is just, I mean,
no.
I'm not making any excuses for him. Because, of course, it would be his responsibility to get the help that he would need for that. But a lot of the characteristics of someone with narcissistic personality disorder is someone who sort of, lures you in with lots of love bombing, but then they sort of turn on you, and go ice cold on you if you do something or say something that remotely triggers them or something like that. And this is a textbook case of it right here. Like, this is why I've been saying since 2020 that if anybody taking psychology classes in school wanted like a visual media representation of what that would be like, he is the perfect candidate right here. This is basically what this is, and him treating Sami like this was just like, bruh, like, what did Sami do? It was all good a week ago, and then all of a sudden you're just gonna flip on him because, number one, you're jealous of him and the attention he's getting, and number two, you're just snapping off of him because you just feel like he's like a fly that's just in your way. And it was just, and then Paul was just looking so scared the entire time. But we'll get to Papa Paul a little bit more in a minute. But seeing Sami being treated like that was just so sad. I was just like, you know what? Sami just can't
I
win
don't
for
feel
losing when it
sad
comes
for
to
him.
you.
I don't feel sad for Sami because he chose to align himself with the bloodline and all of that stuff there. And now look at him. I told y'all that eventually somewhere down the line, they was going to turn their back on Sami Zayn and start treating him like trash. This right here is the beginning. He may have forgiven him tonight, but after what happens in the main event, closing of the show, come Royal Rumble next week, we're going to be leading up to something for Elimination Chamber. That's all I'm going to say about that. But let's continue on because he's getting too much of my time. Raquel Rodriguez said that she's going to enter the Royal Rumble. Of course, we're gearing up for Royal Rumble. Royal Rumble is 1 week away, come next week. And I mean, I'm interested in seeing and noticing that the women who are there on the show actively, are announcing that they're being a part of the Rumble. I'm happy about that. Please leave all the surprises to the surprisers, like myself. I love to be surprised. I don't want you to tell me that, WWE Hall of Famer Molly Holly or Mighty Molly or whoever she plans on being is going to be entering the Rumble. No, don't tell me that. Like, let's just wait and see who else is going to enter. But Raquel says she's entering the Rumble. And she's going to knock out all other 29 women so that she can go on to WrestleMania.
Yeah, and she said she was gonna represent for her family because, of course, it is gonna be in San Antonio, Texas, which is where she's from, or at least she's from Texas. I'm not sure if she's from San Antonio specifically,
Right.
but she said she was gonna represent for her family, her friends. I believe she also said Tejanos, which I'm not exactly sure exactly what that means, but
It's like
she looked like,
Mexicans, so
huh?
it's just like Mexicans. It's a certain kind of um. It's like it's Mexican, but it is more deep to dive into. And honestly, my
Okay.
brain hurt. But it's something that deals with her culture, basically. I would.
Yes, and yeah, she looked very spirited here in this promo, and she looked absolutely stunning. Like when she popped up on the
You
screen,
hold
it's like
up.
all the lighting was hitting her skin really well. She had on the necklace, the hair, like everything. I was like, girl, you look so beautiful tonight.
You
Come
hold
through,
up.
Raquel. Stun us with your beauty.
I still didn't know where she got that bodysuit from when she went out there and saved Shotzi, but
That too.
I was I need to speak Spanish. Maybe she'll understand me because I was like, girl, where you get this bodysuit from? She didn't say nothing. I was like, all right, let me turn the translation on and so that you can understand that I'm trying to figure out where you got this bodysuit from, but
Yeah,
we'll
she's a
figure it out.
gorgeous woman.
She is. She really is. Don't know how she got with that man, but here we are. Speaking of men, LA Knight, of
Lord.
course, is in action tonight. He makes his way to the ring, to be exact, and he ends up facing a hometown native. I did not catch his name. I don't know if they said his name. I'm very, very unsure. But also I wanted to say, going back to the Viking Raiders, they did have a tribute to them boys on their arms, and I thought that was so amazing to have for that. But LA Knight has a match, but doesn't really have it for long. It kind of got quick and over with before he got interrupted by Bray Wyatt's ass crack being out for the world to see and notice, although his symbol was blocking it. But honestly, truly, whatever leg day that Bray Wyatt has, I need to be on because I don't think I better stay down that long or get up. My knees gonna pop. But yeah, I mean,
He
you know,
got mega knees.
very much so. But or Sierra Neves, because she's
That
dealing with
too.
it too. Firefly Funhouse returns tonight, and so did Uncle Howdy. We had the Sister Abigail is alive, the pig is alive, like everybody here, everybody is here, and I'm very petrified right now because I don't even know what to do. Like he's so like ready to get his hands on Bray Wyatt, and I'm very eager to see this pitch black match that they have at the Royal Rumble. I feel like at the Rumble we will probably be introduced to some of the lively puppet characters. There has to be something that transpires within their match, like Uncle Howdy probably revealing himself, maybe, or like I said, I think there are multiple Uncle Howdys. That's what I think. Who are they? I don't know, but I think eventually somewhere down the line we will know who the Uncle Howdys are, as well as all the other characters on the Firefly Funhouse.
Yeah. I'm finding out that LA Knight fought Greg Jones. That was his name.
Okay.
But the thing is though, I don't know if he was local or if I've seen him with the PC before. I can't remember, but I felt like I've seen him before and I feel weird about it.
He could have been with the PC, but I can't tell you.
But he got tossed out because LA Knight, like he beat him up in short order. But then as soon as Bray Wyatt popped up, he tossed him flat out of the ring. I was like, well, dang.
He
What
did.
did he do to deserve all that? But seeing the Firefly Funhouse though really did kind of feel good because we hadn't seen it in so long.
We haven't.
And then to see all the other puppets sort of dust themselves off, like, oh yeah, it's kind of dusty. Yeah, we ain't been out here in a minute. And I kind of just took special joy in singing the Firefly Funhouse song because, for all we know, you probably will never sing it again after after next week. So we got to enjoy it while it lasts. But yeah, these mind games are just getting kind of crazy, but I still enjoyed it for the most part. I'm like, oh, Bray, what you finna drop on us?
I'm pretty sure because next week will be the going home show for Royal Rumble, and whatever transpires, it happens. It happens. That's all I can say. So let's continue on within the show and move on to people that I don't care about. So here we are. Hit Row versus Los Lotharios. It was a cool match. I mean, Hit Row seems to be having some beef with Michael Cole because he said that Hit Row doesn't fly too well. And that's all I can really say about that. And Hit Row did win. Viva fruit roll up and holding of the tights by Tahuti. Or Ashanti de Adonis. I like to call by his real name, but Ashanti de Adonis. Yeah, and they advanced to the semifinals. Stephanie, any thoughts? Shout out to B Fab. She added some orange to her hair. I still hate the white braids. I really do. It just really throws off a lot for me for her with those braids, but nonetheless, cute boots. I will say.
Yeah, the thing that I feel about Hit Row is just the fact that I feel like there needs to be something more with them leaning heavily more into their heel characters, because outside of, BFAB sticking her nose in the match like Joseph did say she did, which allowed for them to get that win.
Yeah.
And also with with Top Dollar getting into it with Michael Cole, like it seems like in ring it wasn't translating as well with them being heel. Like I feel like there needs to be something more in ring that translates with them being a little bit more heel, because it seems like everything outside is working but everything inside isn't working. I mean, because even after the match ended, like Top Dollar took one of the signs away that said Hit Row and tore it up into pieces, and I was just like, okay, well that's heel behavior. And the other stuff was there, but in ring it feels like more of the same thing, and I just hope that they can click it together and just make it make sense. Also, I would like to say that I think it's funny that Michael Cole mentioned it was either Michael Cole or Wade Barrett who mentioned the idea of Top Dollar not being able to dress well, and I really feel like between you and between Jobber Tears, they may have heard that. They may have heard y'all say that and just be like, you know what, let's take that and just utilize it. And I was just like, well, damn.
Where is the line? Where is the line? Like, I mean, literally, I'm looking at this right now. This is definitely a hot mess. And I don't think it would get any better.
Yeah, I guess a part of me just doesn't understand why there's so much, back and forth over the way he dresses. Because whenever I see him come out here in this money outfit, it just reminds me of Carmella and how she used to come out in her money outfit. So I mean, and I don't recall anybody calling Carmella's outfit tacky when it was all money. So I don't understand what the issue is.
I think it's more so like when I looked at Carmella's like versions of her outfits that had money on it, you can tell that someone took time to create something that was suitable for her. Wow. You can look at what Carmella had, and I don't think you could probably like get it out the store or anything like that. But when I look at Top Dollar, I think Rule 21.
Or City Trends.
City Trends, This Fashion.
For less, yeah.
Very much so. Rainbow. Like this is what I get. And this is how I look at all three of them. Like it's just not Top Dollar, it's all three of them. They all are terrible dressers. The only thing that I would say that looks nice is BFAB shoes. Other than that, nothing about their attire makes me feel like this is Hit Row. To be honest, it feels like a bunch of GTA characters on Grove Street. This is what I'm looking at. And
Jesus.
it baffles me because I know they can do better, but this is what they give. So I'm not their stylist. If so, they'll look way better than this. But you know, shouts out to them for winning the match and advance to the tournament. It just won't be advancing here at the Royal Rumble because AJ Francis will not be here. Or Top Dollar, whichever one you prefer to call him, he will not be a part of this. But guess what? The man who beat him, Ricochet, will be along with a lot of others who did announce that they will be entering the Royal Rumble. We have Omos, we have Santos, Ricochet, Rey Mysterio, Happy Corbin, Kofi Kingston, Braun Strowman, who announced that he was going to be in the Royal Rumble 2 as well tonight. Sheamus, Bobby Lashley, Seth Rollins, Austin Theory, Gunther, Drew McIntyre, and of course the long-awaited return and multiple video package to Road to Recovery that we've been getting from Cody Rhodes, which we also did get another one tonight. And I mean, honestly, we're probably going to get one more or two more right before the Royal Rumble transpires. So, I mean, Cody Rhodes is headed to Royal Rumble. And I know a lot of people have something to say about why did WWE announce that, and it's because they knew that the Dirty Sheets were going to open up their mouth because that everybody wants to be the one to say, well, I know this and I know that, and not just like wait for shit to happen. But this is the thing, though. Dirty Sheets been around for a very, very long time, and as kids, we didn't know anything about it. So now that we're adults and we're in the field, you know, or we're watching and seeing what's on social media wise, we literally know about everything that goes on.
And my thing is, I feel like with them telling a story of him coming back, it's like it's making it more and more dramatic and really cool though, because it's really giving like when you would watch certain people get injured and when you would miss them and you would wonder what's happening to them. Like it's very vintage, like ruthless aggression type or attitude era type of thing where it's like someone who's universally liked is, you know, gone out with an injury and you can't wait for them to come back and then boom, here they are. So I actually like the fact that they're telling us that Cody Rhodes is coming back at the Royal Rumble because this is him continuing his journey and his odyssey that he said that he came back to WWE for. Because of course, if he wins the Rumble, he has a ticket to WrestleMania to fight Roman Reigns for whatever title he wants to challenge him for. That is a big deal, and he gets to carry on his and finish his father's legacy the way he said he wanted to do when he first came back. So, however they decided to do it, regardless, I mean, here we are still watching it, so it doesn't matter. Cody is still here because the adrenaline is in his soul. Okay, so let them do you know what they're gonna do. And also shout out to Andrew Sports Medicine in Birmingham, Alabama for fixing him surgery wise and also helping him with his rehab because we heal wrestlers down here. So yeah, Cody Rhodes is back. Let's be happy. Let's celebrate.
And speaking of celebration, Charlotte Flair, of course, made her long-awaited return about 2 weeks ago, capturing the SmackDown Women's Champion, and Ronda Rousey has no longer showed her face again. But someone who keeps showing her face is Sonya Deville because Charlotte is trying to figure out what is Sonya's issue. She has no idea why she has a problem with her. And Sonya comes out, and it just feels as if like Sonya is just upset at the fact that Charlotte comes in, gets the title opportunity, or basically challenges someone for the title, wins it, and then runs off and think that she, you know, earned it or deserved it more so than Sonya. And I just feel like it just even adds a little bit more as to why Sonya is being very envious of Charlotte. I mean, last week she attacked her, they fought backstage and all this and that, and tonight she sucker punched Charlotte tonight and then walked out of the ring. And you know, it's like Adam Pearce, like this here, like I listen, it's a great photo. I will say the whole
it is. This should be memed.
Very much so. But but you know, Sonya, she leaves the ring and Adam Pearce comes out and it's just like, what are you doing? Do we not have this conversation? It's like, do we get Charlotte and Sonya next week, or do we get Charlotte and Sonya at Royal Rumble?
I low-key feel like we're gonna get them oh, okay.
I was coughing
Yeah.
up a storm. I was dying.
Oh, okay. I was just trying to make sure you were okay.
Yeah.
But back to the conversation at hand, I feel like we'll probably get Sonya and Charlotte at the Royal Rumbles, simply because I feel like there's maybe something else they need to put on the card. But then I wouldn't be surprised if it happened on SmackDown either, because it would just, well, actually no, it would just probably just be at the Royal Rumble, because the Raw Women's Championship is also on the line at the Royal Rumble. And considering this is a big four pay-per-view, I think, this would be a good opportunity for Sonya to prove, to basically back up, what she's been talking all this time. So, I feel like it would be at the Royal Rumble, because honestly, that's where Charlotte, performs her best at, is like on larger stages. Not to say that she does perform well on, free television, because she still does, but I'm just saying, like, I feel like it would be better suited on Royal Rumble instead of just on the go home show before the Royal Rumble.
I mean, honestly, you really never know with WWE. They will give you a match before a big pay-per-view happens. They've done it on multiple occasions. Joseph said Sonya's confidence is getting better on the mic. I still 50-50 on Charlotte as a face. She is better as a heel. Fans only love her because she beat Ronda. In their mind, she said the SmackDown Women's Division. That is, I can say, well, she can say it's true. And then he said, yeah, I don't think Charlotte would sit out the Rumble as champ. I could see this as a false count anywhere. Charlotte wants to destroy Sonya. Sonya wants the title. That is very true. But it's all about exactly when is that going to happen. So.
Yeah, I totally see it being a Falls Count Anywhere match, because of the fact that, like, Sonya did attack her last week, backstage. So if this is Falls Count Anywhere, then I think it would be a good opportunity for Sonya, because we don't really see Sonya in big match moments like this. So I feel like that would be really good for her to show that, she's able to carry herself in these types of situations. Because even Charlotte told her in the promo that she always told her that she was a star, but she's acting arrogant, thinking she's just entitled to stuff. But I never thought I would ever hear Charlotte tell someone else that they were entitled to stuff. Because no shade to Charlotte, but she has had a history of feeling entitled to things. So I never thought that, the roles would ever be reversed. But here we are in the today of things. And yeah, Sonya's out here acting like, she deserves everything. But she's always jealous of those who accomplish more than her. So that's par for the course.
Yeah, and I mean, what more can you say? I will have to say about that, but I don't know. I don't know necessarily if this is something that's going to happen really soon. But if it does happen at the Rumble, then hey, it'd be nice, because I mean, we only have one title for the women on the line, and I mean, we don't really have anything for the tag titles. Let's start there. So. If they wanted to have this title, take place at the Rumble, that's cool. Hell, both of them could enter the damn Rumble. You know what I'm saying? Charlotte did it last year.
Or they might have something for the women's tag titles, because of course you did have Candice LeRae and Mia Yim, sort of ganging up on Dakota and Io on Raw this past Monday. So that could be a thing.
That's true. I guess however they choose to do it on come Monday, since it's Raw, then I guess we'll definitely find out. Speaking of finding out more of that, once again, Roman is here on the screen because we're in a secret life of what Roman Reigns is really feeling right now.
As the bloodline turns.
As the bloodline returns. Wise Man is back there trying to talk some sense into his head about Sammy and maybe how he, you just should hear him out and and things like that. And Sammy does come back in later on. Another vignette of Lacey Evans. She gets more video package, more than anybody I know. And maybe she'll be entering the Rumble. Who knows? I could care less, to be honest. I'm not gonna lie to you.
We have the same pose, because when they showed it,
I think
When they
that's
showed it, I was just like, "Girl, when are you supposed to show up?" Because at one point they were saying it was supposed to be in another week or in 2 weeks or something like that. And now here we are in the today of things and you're not here.
I don't
I'm
need another.
very confused.
I
But the
don't,
Rumble might be the better place for her at this point because
maybe so.
I don't know.
I don't need another vignette. That's what I will say.
Her
So
hair is
hopefully it's the last
beautiful.
one. It's all right. Hopefully she do. They bring it to the Rumble. So we move more into the tag team tournament that they're having. The Brawling Brutes versus Imperium. I was very shocked that Imperium did pick up the win. I was not by no means like expecting that to happen, by no means necessary. I really wasn't. So it really shocked me. But I mean, Imperium, they do advance to the next round. And I really don't have anything to say. I mean, just I thought maybe the Brawling Brutes would have took this, but they did not. They-
Yeah.
it's all right. I won't be sad about it. I won't be mad. Because I got to see Pete in person. So that's all that's my 2023 right there. That matters a lot to me. So
Yes. Congratulations. I'm so happy for you that you had that experience.
child, I had lost my voice.
I understand. I totally understand. But this match was fantastic though. This was very NXT UK.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed this match. It's just like with Pete Dunne / Butch's power, and then you have Ridge Holland, being powerful as well. It's
Mhm.
like, and then with Imperium, I was wondering if Walter was gonna, well, not Walter, Lord Gunther was gonna come out with them. See, I'm already going back to NXT UK. Lord, no. Um, I was wondering if he was going to come out with them, but then he didn't. And he trusted them to actually, put forth the effort to go forth in this tournament. And I'm glad they won. And they really did show out. And they were very impressive in this match, especially Giovanni Vinci with all of his, rope work. I was just like, okay,
Mhm.
man, do it. All the acrobatics and whatnot. I enjoyed this match. So Imperium definitely sort of, they deserve it. It's sad that the Brawling Brutes don't get to move forward and, represent for their team, but it's okay. They did a good job.
They did. I will say that. Uh, so we got Karrion Cross, who did enter the Royal Rumble as well. He said once he finishes off Rey Mysterio, he's going to defeat all other 29 men. And yeah, I think he did not. I think he forgot how to count. But
Mm.
he did say he was going to enter the Rumble. And Shayna said she was entering the Rumble as well to, beat everyone limb from limb. So excited to see Shayna back into, getting into the Rumble. Carrying not so much because you come from Rey Mysterio, and I don't like that. Just so you know. TikTok. Okay.
Yeah, I hate the fact that even though I understand that Karrion Cross might be coming for him as a means of trying to put Ray out of his misery because he feels like his time has passed. What
Yeah.
I don't like is the fact that he's saying that you can't choose to be the greatest of all time and, participate in the Royal Rumble and be a dad. And I'm just like, that is impossible. And people have been doing that for years,
Yeah.
whether they've balanced it well or not, because of course, people have their various stories and their various experiences on the road. But for you to say that Ray isn't doing a good job of being like, you can't have both, that's ridiculous. You can have both. You can have both. And so let's get rid of that rhetoric in 2023. You can definitely choose to have a family and also be the best in your career, and that goes for men and women. So I hated it. So I hope Ray does be his butt like the godfather that he is.
That I do agree. So we move on to our final tag team turmoil for the first round. Um, with Maximum Male Models versus like all different types. This was really good. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's always funny to see the Maximum Male Models out here wrestling because it's been a minute since we've seen them. They kind of been holding it down, doing some content and stuff, but Maxine looked really good. Zelina looked really good in her Boussier inspired Puerto Rico, Puerto Rican
Ooh.
and stuff. She looked really good. And she said she was entering herself into the Rumble too. So it's nice to know that we're having some men and a lot of people saying that they're gonna be entering the Rumble. It does make you feel excited. Zelina is to me like the queen of, when it comes to anime and like cartoon, video games, cosplay gear that she wears for Royal Rumble. Last year she came in as Madara. I thoroughly enjoyed it. She looked
Me too.
amazing. So it's going to be really exciting to see who she does this year going into the Rumble. So I'm excited, but nonetheless, this was really, really good. I didn't expect the Maximum Male Models to win. But I am very excited for Legado del Fantasma to, move forward into the Royal Rumble because Santos said he was going to be going off to Royal Rumble as well to enter himself in. So, I mean, everybody's entering in the Rumble and trying to make get to a main event WrestleMania somehow, some way. So, I am fairly excited. Royal Rumble is one of my favorite pay-per-views anyway. I've already went back and watched all of them to say. Since I went back and watched all of them as if this is my first time watching the Royal Rumble for each of the years that went on and by. So I'm at 2022 now to be safe. So I'm probably gonna finish that tonight too. But yeah, shout out to them. What did you think of this match, Stephanie? Were you shocked that Legado del Fantasma won? And what do you think happens with Maximum Male Models?
No, I wasn't surprised at Legado del Fantasma winning, because of the fact that we hadn't seen Maximum Male Models on television or in the ring for so long. So a part of me really did kind of feel like, okay, Legado really might take this one because even though I know they've been doing their thing with their content and being absolutely hysterical with that, and kudos to them for that. We hadn't seen them in ring. So I was like, okay, well, maybe they'll have some ring rust and maybe Legado will win. And they've been kind of on a winning streak lately anyway with Legado, with Santos having beaten Kofi last week and now with this. And yeah, I was really impressed, with their showing in this match, and I'm glad that that Legado del Fantasma team does move forward, in the tournament. Now, another thing I will say about Zelina Vega, because I love my girl. Speaking to her outfits at the Rumble, she came out as Vega one year from Street Fighter, and I thought that was really cool too, and just a play on her last name.
The first time she came to I think that's the first Rumble that she had entered into where she came out. It was fire.
Yeah, it was fire, and I feel like in my own perfect world, I feel like she would win, even though I'm just, I don't know, I just feel like she would be one of my favorites to win in a perfect world. Because I just feel like she could be a champion at some point this year.
She could.
Because she has it all to me. So I'm just like, yo, make Zelina champion. I am not going to stop pushing until they make Zelina Vega the champion of something. I don't care if they have to make a mid-card title for her and she has to be the first one. Just make Zelina a champion. Y'all already made her the inaugural queen of the ring. Make her a champion. Do it. Book it. Also, read my article about her on www.talkpod.com. So, yeah.
Well, we'll have to see if they're going to push Zelina up to that standpoint of becoming champion. It's very possible. It could happen. Who knows? Let's see. So, speaking of what else could happen, we might be a little bit on track right now with Sammy actually coming back, being able to come back in and talk to Roman and see where his head's at. And, he even gets the fist pound right now and everything like that. And he tells Sammy to go get the Usos while, because once they're done signing their contract, they're getting the hell out of here, out of Detroit. they're gonna go somewhere else and just chill out and relax and all this stuff. And Roman tells Sammy to go get the Usos while the wise man, him and Solo, get ready to head to the ring and fist pump, all this and that. Yeah. Yeah. It didn't go down the way we thought it was gonna go down. Come this contract signing. That's all I'm gonna say about that. Any thoughts, Stephanie? Like, do you think maybe Roman had a little bit of a change of heart for Sammy?
Yes. This is where I think there's a phrase from the movie My Big Fat Greek Wedding where Tula's mom said, if you've ever seen this movie, Tula's mom said, of course, the man is the head of the household, but the woman is the neck. I feel like in this scenario, this was where Roman is, of course, the head of the table and the head of the household, but Paul Heyman is the neck that turns. So Paul Heyman was the one who told Roman, look, if you're going to have someone like him, like Sammy, piss, in the castle, I would much rather have him piss in the castle than on the outside of it. And he was basically saying, look, it's better to have Sammy on our side as opposed to having him against us. And that is really what turned Roman Reigns around to apologize to Sammy yet again and manipulate him, here again being a mentally abusive person, and bringing Sammy back in to the fold and apologizing to him and saying, yo, I want you to do this for me, do that for me, let's pretend to communicate, let's pretend to open up the lines of communication so everything is fine and everything is cool, so that you can fit the narrative of what I need from you instead of me doing the same thing for you. And this was very manipulative and very layered and very dirty, and I loved it. I love the storytelling component of it.
Only thing I'm gonna say is Roman is like that toxic boyfriend that you're with, that y'all get into an argument about something and then he comes back around and he tries to gaslight the situation and make you think that, oh, well, everything is fine, it's good, I love you, blah, blah, blah. And then next minute, the shit hits the fan. And then tomorrow he's going to go right back to ignoring you and not returning your phone calls and treating you like shit. Poor Sammy. Don't feel bad for him because he decided to bring his ass over here in the line with these folks, and they told him that it's about the bloodline, it's about the family. And Jay told him a long time ago that to be a part of this family, like, we don't trust you. You can't be trusted. And eventually it's going to be full circle while all this comes around. And Sammy will probably no longer be a part of the bloodline. And I'll be so happy because now we can end this bloodline BS and we can move the hell on to Roman losing all his goddamn titles and going the hell home. But that's just me though. So, of course, next week we have Rey Mysterio versus Karrion Kross. This will be the going home show for Royal Rumble. We also have the semifinals because we have Drew McIntyre and Sheamus versus Hit Row, who will be losing next week. And Drew and Sheamus will be moving forward. You heard it from me first. We also have Imperium versus Legado del Fantasma. Don't really know who's going to go here, but I know that Drew and Sheamus are making it to the finals. That's it. That's the tweet. That's nothing else that can be said. Whoever wins out of these two will be really interesting to see them go up against Drew and Sheamus because I'm not putting Hero in any of this conversation. So, and also, of course, you do know that Monday Night Raw is the 30th anniversary. This is not no porno shit. Just let y'all know because it's Triple X here, and I know how y'all been acting all weekend because you'll see this. But we do have WWE Legends coming in. We have Ron Simmons, Road Dogg, X-Pac, DDP. Jimmy Hart. I want to say that is his name. Sometimes I'll be saying,
yeah, that's his name, Jimmy Hart. That's a mouthful of South.
I would want to say Jimmy Wang Yang, but he need to be here too. No lie, I love Jimmy Wang Yang. I know he's doing his party bus stuff. He needs to be a part of this somehow, some way. Jared the King Lawler, who is always here, the Godfather, Ted DiBiase. I am unsure who the man is that is right next to him. I have actually no idea. I cannot tell you because I don't. Ric Flair, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Undertaker, Kurt Angle, Alundra Blaze, and Teddy Long. Notice I did not say the McDonald's guy because I can give two shits about him, and I wish he can go home too. But these are the legends that will be here next week. Well, this coming Monday. So yeah, Raw 30 is gonna be a lot happening. Lita it was announced that Lita is gonna be there too. Maybe she has some type of situation with Bayley and Becky because Bayley and Becky will be facing each other in a steel cage match, and Lita knows a lot about that. So very excited to see what Monday Night Raw holds because me and Nikki will definitely be talking about it on the Monday Night Raw post show. But this is still Friday Night SmackDown, and let's get into the closing of the show. So of course we have the Universal or the Undisputed Universal contract signing with Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens. While Roman was chilling and hanging out with his feet kicked up, Kevin Owens was coming behind, jumping everybody. He took out Solo, he took out Sammy, and then it's the IRS. Okay,
Yeah, okay, that makes sense now.
all right, because he looks like somebody who about to file your taxes or call you about your money.
Thank
And
you.
thanks, Chad. And well, this is where we end up with Roman gets put through a table. Even the Usos tried to help, but it didn't. They were unsuccessful. The Bloodline was unsuccessful tonight. Roman is laid out. Paul is somewhere howling and screaming behind the titles. Sammy's nowhere to be found. Solo is knocked down. The Usos are knocked down, and Roman is laid out flat. And then everybody's trying to figure out what the hell is going on and how did this happen. No, and Sammy is standing right there holding the contract sign. So it's like, you know what? This is getting worse by the day. Come next week, I don't even know how Roman's even going to feel towards Sammy. Because I feel like he's gonna now. I feel like Sammy's about to get the J treatment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because he did kind of tell him, don't come out there. This is just a me thing.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, when everybody else was falling on the wayside, Sammy did come out to try to fight,
Yeah.
in his honor. So I almost feel like Roman would have been pissed if he didn't come out there. But I guess this is a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. So
It kind of is because it's like, damn, I come out here and I do help, and then this happens, or do I sit back, let you guys handle it like you say you were going to, and then this happens, and then it's like, well, why you didn't come out? Where were you? You told me to stay back. I'm following your orders, and if I didn't listen, then it's like, why did you come out here? And it's like, what more do you want from me? Okay.
right. And also, let me just say, I love how Kevin Owens just came out there immediately with the smoke. He's tired of talking. He is ready to fight. And I will also love to say the fact that he had on his Jay Briscoe tribute armband, just like a lot of people have been. And he came out there with that energy and started beating everybody's behind. I literally feel like you do not come out there you don't come out there wearing a Jay Briscoe band and don't come out there ready to handle some business. And he came out there and handled everybody's business and then still signed the contract. Roman has yet to sign the contract as it stands. So I thought that was just really fire, and it was a really good way to end. I was like, yep, that's Kevin.
Well, that man was laid out. So, I mean, like, he can't sign anything when he's laid on his back. So, Whew, I tell you what, Monday for like the Bloodlines acknowledgement ceremony, like all generations and eras of the Bloodline, it's going to be in attendance. So I mean, it's going to be quite interesting to see, will this ceremony end well? That's all I can say about that. But that does conclude SmackDown, you guys. But of course, you know what we do here? We have two shows that we cover. Once SmackDown goes off, we dive right into Rampage, and this is where I allow Stephanie to speak, and I shut up until I have something to say.
Yeah, and before we get into the Rampage side of things, let me just say that I am very excited for Raw is 30 because the first episode of Monday Night Raw was January 11th, 1993, and that was the same year I was born. I was born 8 months later, so in September. So the fact that me and Monday Night Raw have a birthday is just really insane, and I love it. We're both turning 30, and I can't wait. to watch it, and I felt some type of way about that, little vignette that they showed where they were showing all the videotapes, and I was watching it with my dad, and I was just like, Dad, look at all the videotapes, because my dad used to tape Monday Night Raw and Nitro back to back whenever he'd have to go to work and couldn't watch it live. So he would tape it and then come home or come to my grandma's house and watch it. And I was just like, and that was just a very memorable thing. And now look at us, we're all grown and old and we're still watching Raw. So, it's just a very beautiful thing. And yeah, Chad, my birthday is in September, but thank you in either way. But just the fact that me and Raw share, a birth year is just absolutely fantastic. It just goes to show you me and wrestling were meant to be. But moving forward, we're gonna talk more Hardys a little bit later. But on this episode of Rampage, of course, it started with Ethan Page, all ego, Ethan Page versus Jungle Boy Jack Perry. Of course, when it comes to Rampage, they like to come in hot, at the beginning of the show with their first matches. So Jungle Boy got to the ring, everybody was waving their hands to the song because, of course, we love to do that. But Ethan Page wasn't in a mood for it. He really wanted to just get to fight immediately. So he yanked him down off the top rope and started punching on him and wailing on him and all that. And it was crazy. But the thing was, Ethan Page had an X factor in the fact that he had Stokely Hathaway, Private Party, and of course Matt Hardy, my brother, out there, to try to help him out a little bit or whatever. But it seemed a lot like Matt Hardy's presence was kind of taken away from him more than it was helping. So Jungle Boy was working a little bit slower than he normally works in his matches, along with Ethan Page, because of course he's really small, so he tends to move really quickly. So that was what was going on there. So there was a lot of back and forth between the two. But when it looked almost as if Jack Perry was going to lose, Hook came out, of course, with Jungle Hook and their little connection that they've got going on. So he came out there, and then as Ethan Page tried to utilize Matt Hardy's ponytail with a cover over Jack Perry kicked out, and Matt Hardy slapped his hand away, and then Jack Perry rolled up Ethan Page for the win. And so after, Jack Perry was celebrating the win with Hook or whatnot, Ethan Page didn't like that. So he challenged Jungle Hook to a tag team match next week on Dynamite. So that's pretty much, what was going on there. So yeah. Jack Perry came out with the win. And this is also where I found out with my dad. I also did not know that Jack Perry was the late Luke Perry's son. I was like, you didn't know that? But yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that either until like he ended up passing. And so he decided that he wanted to actually, instead of just going by Jungle Boy, he wanted to go by Jungle Boy Jack Perry, his real name. And I was like, wow, I was not expecting that. I would never even thought that your son would have been like a wrestler at all whatsoever. You over here holding it down on Riverdale from what I have been watching still to this day, still watch. I would never thought
Arby's daddy.
I was like, I was sitting there watching Riverdale. I'm like, what? Didn't even see it coming out whatsoever. I did think this match is really nice. Ethan Page is wrong for pulling Matt Hardy's hair, sir. Okay. Trying to cheat the win. You could have yanked that man hair out. But this was a really nice opening. It was cool. I thoroughly enjoyed it for the most part. It's nice to see that Hook, is making his rounds with a lot of people. First we got Hook Houndsman, and now we're gonna have Jungle Hook. I think they got like shirts and things like that probably gonna be coming soon and everything. Hook just making his rounds with people. And so I'm not mad at it at all whatsoever, but this was really good. I enjoyed it. Ready to see what else transpires with Jungle Hook, to be exact.
Yeah, I feel like Jungle Hook really needs to be on a t-shirt. I think that's an amazing name for a tag team. So next week we get to see them get it cracking with Ethan Page and I believe and Matt Hardy. So cool tag team action to look forward to next week. So after that, we were able to get a little bit of answers as to what's going on between Ortiz and Eddie Kingston, because of course they've been going through, a little bit of a back and forth with the House of Black and then also with each other and wondering if they could really trust each other. So Ortiz was the first one to come out, and he was in the ring with Tony Schiavone, and he was talking about, how Eddie Kingston sort of been a little bit, unhinged and stuff. But then Eddie came out and he was holding a chair and he also had on this hoodie that said Buffalo Kids. I don't know exactly what that is. But maybe it meant something nice. I don't know. But they wound up getting into a verbal confrontation where Ortiz confronted Eddie Kingston about the fact that he was about to hit Julia Hart, which isn't like him and isn't how he was raised in terms of putting his hands on women. And Eddie Kingston wasn't trying to hear that. So after they got into it a little bit, Eddie Kingston hit Ortiz in the head with a chair twice and left the ring. So it's pretty safe to say that their friendship is donezo. So Santana, how did you feel about this?
Anybody who watches AEW Rampage and whenever Eddie Kingston is on the show knows that I could care less about that man. I do not care about Eddie Kingston at all whatsoever. Yes, he is unhinged. He can you attack somebody who's supposed to be your friend, supposed to be your tag partner, all because you got things going on with your own life. You know what I'm saying? And you want to take it out on everybody else because you upset, mad, and miserable about whatever it is that's going on. And so you beat on your partner who's been by your side when everybody else was saying that, oh, you need to seek therapy. We're here to help you, blah, blah, and this and that. Ortiz has been there. And now you turn your back on him. Mm-hmm. So hopefully, and I hope that Ortiz gets his revenge, and I hope he beats the crap out of him. The same crap that Jay White is going to do very soon.
Yeah, I feel like eventually that is going to come to they are going to come to blows in the ring officially, and it's going to be an interesting fight to see between these two tough men. Like I can't, it saddens me to see friends break up in this way, but sometimes, that sometimes friends have to, split up in order to really get some clarity on their own lives until they either come back together or never come back together. So you just never know. But yeah, that's how that ended. So next, in terms of match action, we had Brian Cage, the Ring of Honor World Six-Man Champion, versus Willie Mack, who of course a lot of people know from the Independents. And this match was really good. I had never really seen Willie Mack perform before, but what I will say is he really impressed me here because Mr. Sir, for someone who is a little bit thicker, he had an amazing amount of agility in this match. He was doing all kinds of jumps and kicks and everything onto Brian Cage. It was a very back and forth situation. It was very different from how you sort of see these wrestlers come from the indies or from AEW Dark or Dark Elevation and then come on Rampage and they just get beat by the star that you know. This wasn't one of those situations. Willie Mack really brought it like in this match, and I was really excited to see him really take it to Brian Cage. All of his speed and all of it was just amazing. Like all of his, like it was just really great. But basically the match wound up ending when Brian Cage finished him off with his version of a Falcon Arrow for the pin. So that was pretty much it. And then Brian Cage was of course being rooted on by Prince Nana. So that was what's happening there. But Willie Mack really has nothing to be ashamed of with this match because he did a phenomenal job for his first time on television. He didn't just let himself just get beat up. And of course, Brian Cage is set to go one-on-one with Bryan Danielson next week because MJF slapped him in the face and paid him an amount of money to sort of beat up and break down Bryan Danielson so he won't have an opportunity to come for the AEW title. Which I found very disrespectful Wednesday night. Because first of all, how you gonna slap the person that you paying to help you?
I mean, when you're
MJF is from the seventh circle of hell and he needs help. But go ahead. I'm sorry, Santana.
I just think that MJF looks at himself like he runs a mafia or something, and that I'm paying you to do this, and I can smack you around if I want to, type thing. But I mean, Brian Cage, he's allowing it to happen. You know what I'm saying? It's not like he hit him back or nothing. I mean, you're taking money from him, so I mean, hey, you've given him kind of like the privilege to do whatever the hell he wants. If he wants to beat the hell on you or beat the hell out of you, you're taking his money. So I mean, hey, it is what it is. But this was a really good match. I know Willie Mack back from like being a part of Impact and stuff, and actually seeing him wrestle live doing the multiverse, and actually having multiverse for Impact on WrestleMania weekend or WrestleCon weekend. And I actually did get a chance to meet him too. He's actually really cool. He's man, it's funny as hell. Um, and to know that he left Impact and he's been thriving very very well on the Indies, from moving on to like GCW to being on AEW Dark to be doing well on AEW Dark. So this match happens again on TV, so that people who don't watch Dark or Dark Elevation will have the chance to see it if they do watch Rampage. And Willie Mack is really good. He's an amazing talent. For
Absolutely.
for his size and stuff like that, you would think that he's supposed to be like more like slower and things like that. But no, he has a lot of endurance, and he has really good stamina. And he's an excellent talent. And I mean, I'm eager and interested to see how this Bryan Danielson and Brian Cage match go. I did get a chance to go back and watch Bryan Danielson and Bandito.
Yes, that was so good.
I was so mad I couldn't watch it live because I work at a radio station on Wednesdays. So I wasn't able to watch it live, and I was so mad because I was like, this was the only time I was watching AEW was for Bryan Danielson and Bandito. I wasn't watching for nobody else. I was only gonna be watching AEW Dynamite for that match in particular because I love Bandito. I got introduced to him last year. Got to see him wrestle for the first time twice, to be exact. One at GCW, and then also at Ric Flair's last match. And I mean, he is absolutely like he's top tier. His gear is top tier. Everything about Bandito is top tier. Like I am a fan, a huge fan, and hopefully one day somewhere down the line again, I get to see them wrestle live, and maybe I get a chance to meet them and stuff like that. But I can kill less for Brian Cage. He doesn't do anything for me. He's just another juice hair right back that's just got muscles and that's it. I can kill less for him.
I will say this about Brian Cage. The first time I saw him, he scared me. He scared me because of how big he was. I was just like, is it really this natural for one man to have all of these muscles? Like I was just scared. I was just like, oh my God.
Good question.
Wow.
I
I
don't like
mean, no body shaming, of course, because you're beautiful regardless, but Jesus. So many muscles. But yeah, he wound up coming out with the win here, but Willie Mack won too, even in his loss. So yeah. Bryan Danielson gonna beat him though. I feel like
I
Bryan
hope
Danielson gonna
so.
beat him.
He needs to.
Yes.
So
So moving forward with the rest of the show, we had the TBS Champion Jade Cargill.
yeah, I think Stefan's breaking up. But yeah, so we did have Jade Cargill and Layla Gray in action tonight against the Vanity Twins. If you're not too familiar with the Vanity Twins, they wrestle on the Indies. They're pretty new and upcoming and things like that. Really cute gear, I would have to say. And it's very interesting to see Jade being in a tag with her one long lost baddie that is still lingering around, which happens to be Layla Gray. This was very good. It was nice for people to be introduced to the Vanity Twins who are not too familiar with them or their work, and things like that. And I enjoyed it. I would have to say, but I mean, yeah, her thing was her acting up, but she's back though.
Oh,
He's back.
Wi-Fi. Um, yeah. I enjoyed this match for what it was. It felt like Layla Gray and Jade really got a lot of offense in, and I feel like for this to be the first time I saw the Vanity Twins, I've seen them on Instagram before, but I had never really seen them like um on a mainstream level like this before. Like
Right.
their look is amazing. They look very distinct and beautiful in
Mhm.
terms of black women and their representation. But I literally hate that it felt like they got no offense in. Like basically the way how I was talking about usual squash matches are with the other match we were talking about earlier. This is kind of what that felt like. And I was just like, dang, I really want to see more, from the twins, but It just felt like another let's beef up Jade and let's beef up Layla type of deal. So
Well, I mean, yeah, we did introduce a lot of you guys here who do watch the Turnbuckle Glam show to the Vanity Twins, um, because they were like I think they were in like the gym hottie category, because they were in the gym and everything, and stuff like that. So it was really nice to finally actually see them in the ring. Like you said, if they didn't really get that much offense in, you would have thought they would have, but this is just something to just, add on to Jay's undefeated streak. I keep trying to tell you, by 51, somebody's coming in and take that title.
oh my God, I don't know. But just who?
That's the thing. Who could it be? I said it has to be somebody who's bigger than Jade.
There's only one person bigger than Jade, and I just don't know if that'll ever happen.
That's true, but never say never. That's all I can say. Mm-hmm. I mean, Statlander, she could once she kind of gets healed up and everything. She is still healing from her knee surgery and everything like that, but she could be.
Did you see Britt Baker challenging her?
If they wanted to do it where Jamie is holding the AEW Women's World title and Britt is holding the TBS title, so that the Pillar and the Killer are holding pretty much the main titles for the women, then hey, go for it. But that's only if they wanted to get it down to the line where it's Jade versus Britt. But since it's kind of like Britt and Jamie are like baby faces now, it would give it some moment in time because Jade is a super heel. You know what I'm saying? Chad thinks, his favorite is Saraya, but we did, but Saraya has some other things that she's involved with in regards to with Tony Storm and them going heel Wednesday. But I don't know. I'm interested to see what happens though. Like with Jade, I mean, she's had a nice run. She's been the only person to hold that TBS title, the first ever one to win it. She's almost back up to where she was 50 reigns, 50 wins and stuff. So who knows what happens with Jade, man? Or with the Baddies. I mean, still got Red Velvet lingering around. So Red Velvet want to make it 50 for her.
Ooh, you just never know. But either way, Mama Jade is still out here undefeated, still the TBS champion, and still has a sole survivor baddie in Leila Grey, who came out with the win in that tag team match. And thank you, Santana, for holding it down while my Wi-Fi was being stupid. Oh, technology. But the main event, of course, was Daniel Garcia versus Action Andretti, who is, of course, turned the JAS upside down with him, of course, upsetting Chris Jericho and beating him, with us not really knowing exactly who he is outside of, people, who has been following his career. Like, he really did upset them. So it's looking like Chris Jericho is sending all of his goons to come after him and beat him. So this is where this match comes from. And of course, if Daniel Garcia had won this match, and he would fight side by side with Chris Jericho in their tag team match next week. But if he had lost, it would just be Jericho versus Sammy Guevara with a weird nickname that I will not repeat here because it just doesn't fit them, and they're just not cute. But moving forward, the match, huh?
I don't even know what the nickname is.
Okay, so Chris Jericho has been calling him and Sammy Guevara the sex gods.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
That is disgusting.
It is. It's TMI to be.
I don't mind it with Chris Jericho though, because that man was my first. Chris Jericho was my first love when it came to wrestling. Like he was
great,
top tier for me still, even at his older age.
I mean, I never saw Chris Jericho in that way, but I definitely don't see Sammy that way. So
I would pass for Sammy. I would rather somebody throw nails at me before I even look at Sammy Guevara that way. He's like he bite people. No lie.
He just look like you
I
can't
be
tell
fucking
him
with Chris
nothing.
Jericho though. I don't mind it. Like Chris Jericho want to call himself sex god.
Mm,
This girl is here for it.
there are better. Let's just say that. Respectfully. But back to the match though. This match was pretty good. Andretti, of course, and Daniel Garcia, talked at each other before the match, and it looks like their promos that they're doing before the main event are sort of changing. It's like they have Mark Henry doing the intro, and then they have the promos, and then he's saying it's time for the main event, which I think is kind of different, but it's whatever. So the match was pretty good for the most part. Daniel Garcia kind of charged at Action Andretti in the corner and attacked him before he was even able to remove his gear. And I was just like, well, dang, everybody's just coming in hot tonight. And then after he recovered, Andretti made a comeback, and here again he was showing more of his impressive in-ring work and a lot of his high flying skills or whatnot, like with a really cool suicide dive. So in the end, Action Andretti wound up winning the match, much to the chagrin of Daniel Garcia and Sammy and Chris Jericho, who were on commentary, and they were definitely pissed off about it. So Action Andretti continues to upset the JAS, and there's a war that just keeps continuing with them. That will, of course, continue into next week in the episode of Dynamite. And of course, they did announce some matches in terms of the women. It will be a triple threat between Toni Storm, Ruby Soho, and Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. And then of course we have the match between Brian Cage and Bryan Danielson as well. So yeah, that's how Rampage ended. And Santana, how did you feel about this match, and how do you feel about the episode of Rampage as a whole before we wrap up?
I wanted to get rid of this Action guy. First you come in and you beat Chris Jericho, and then you beat Daniel Garcia. Like those are my two tops right now. And you want to play around, and you want to bring this curly fried head guy to AEW and mess with my people. I am highly upset. I feel very disrespected, and I hope he gets beat the shit out of. Eventually, they're gonna jump him backstage, and I hope it happens. Everybody just take turns whooping his curly fried head. But nonetheless, this is a nice match. I will say this is a really nice match. I love seeing Dan Garcia wrestle. I think he's absolutely amazing. Mr. Action Jackson here, whatever you want to be. He's all right, I will say. But I'm just mad.
I did, notice something though. It felt like when Daniel Garcia came out with Sammy Guevara during his entrance, Sammy was trying to hug him and he didn't feel it. Like he was not feeling the hug. Like, do you sense like some dissension between Daniel Garcia and the rest of the JS crew?
I do. I mean, of course they've kind of teased multiple times where like Daniel could be separating himself from JSA. JAS and everything like that, and then kind of reel back in. But I just think he's pretty much probably sick of Sammy Guevara. Like, who's not sick of Sammy Guevara? That's right there. Like, Sammy Guevara has a punchable face, and I just feel like eventually somewhere down the line, Daniel Garcia is probably gonna punch the man in the face. That's all I can say. So I don't know.
Yeah, and honestly, there's just so much going on with them. But I also do want to get your opinion before we go about how you feel about the turn of Toni Storm and Saraya.
When I did see it, I was like, wow, yeah, why would I want to use Willow? As a person you want to turn on. You know what I'm saying? I was not expecting them to do a heel turn anyway, or to really like just jump on Willow the way that they did. I mean, it's just interesting for that to happen because like it's just like I don't know how I feel about it because it's gonna feel weird having Toni and Saraya as the heels while you have Jamie and Britt as baby faces. Like and them jumping Willow, I didn't too much care for it. And I love Tony Storm. I love Tony Storm. I like Saraya, but they just don't feel like AEW to me. Like when I don't care for them over there in AEW. That's the thing. It's just like when you come from a company like WWE and you go over to a company like AEW, it just doesn't give me like what I'm needing. I'm needing like you to be better and bigger than the character that you made over here in this company. You know what I'm saying? Like when I look at Adam Cole is still Adam Cole, you know what I'm saying? But you can still see a little bit of a difference. Like we look at Chris Jericho here at AEW versus Chris Jericho in like WCW or Chris Jericho over here in WWE. There's a lot of differences going on, you know what I'm saying, within the characters and stuff. So them turning heel is gonna have to grow me. I'm gonna have to see what else they pull out, Adam Cole was Adam Cole for WWE.
Yep. Shout out to Nikki in the comments. But here's my take on it. I did feel a little bit weird about them turning heel, even though there was, a story that's interesting that I hadn't really heard before. It was just like, the people who are coming in, I guess you could say the AEW transplants versus like the AEW homegrowns.
Mm-hmm.
If that's the right word. I'm gonna try to find a better word to call them. But it just felt like I was just like, why do that when you came over here, for a better opportunity and you're trying to act like you're better than these women and make it seem like you've experienced more or done more than these women just because you worked with the other company. Like I hate that because you left them. The AEW originals, thank you, Nikki. The AEW originals, like it's late. I'm sorry. The AEW originals, it just feels weird for you to talk about them as if you're better than them, and it's just and talk down to them like that, and for them to turn so quickly, it was just kind of like, why? Wasn't it just a few months ago when we were happy that Saraya finally got back in the ring? Like, weren't we just happy that Tony Storm's championship was actually being acknowledged as a full-fledged championship and not just an interim? How do you just flip like that? It just makes no sense to me. It doesn't make that much sense to me.
I feel like they needed to do more and more to who they are kind of situation. Like because eventually somewhere down the line, this whole babyface run, she was just gonna end up running out and just not being what it needed to be. And I just feel like when you have someone like Saraya and you have someone like Tony Storm, they are considered to be like the outside girls, if you want to put it that way. When you have someone like Britt and Jamie who's been there, you coming in over here, you know what I'm saying? And it's like you can't be mad at them. You came over to their company, you know what I'm saying? They've been here. They've been holding it down, putting on matches and things like that before you brought your ass over here. So you can't be mad at them,
And then on top of that, it's low-key giving classes because you're making it seem like you have all this experience because you've been on this bigger platform, but you're acting as if just because these women were on the indies before they were on this big AEW platform, then that means they haven't been exposed, and that's ignorant.
Mm-hmm.
That's ignorant, and I feel like that's very classist and really dumb. So I hate that.
The only thing I can say is I need to see how this plays out over here with them being, heels and everything like that and see what they do. Because first for them to turn on like Willow was just out of nowhere and weird. There wasn't anything that kind of led up to, oh, well, we're not liking how we're being treated here. We're being treated like we're outsiders and things like that. It's just like, I don't know. I just feel like they really didn't have anything else for them to really do within the women's division because there's not really any like major storylines being made or being told or being talked about that would allow them to be to stay relevant at all whatsoever. You know what I'm saying? Joseph said Jamie only became real women's champion so Dr. Bray could beat her for it. So it's why I was against Mercedes Moné going to AEW. Impact would be better suited. She wants to be on TV in states outside New Japan. I mean, if Impact has the persuasion to bring Mercedes Moné to Impact for a couple of tapings, it's going to be a lot to deal with. That's all I will say.
That would be huge for them, though.
It would be. Nikki said, Britt and Jamie being the faces hurt right now as far as Saraya and Toni Storm being heel to me. There's no benefit for them. That's true. They should have attacked Shida at this point.
You're not wrong about that.
Yeah, I guess Shida ass out of here. When Britt don't beat Jamie, it's Jade, then what? I don't know. If Britt goes on to beat Jade, then I mean it is what it is, right? Impact not getting Mercedes shout. You can hang this shit up now. How do you feel about Shida and all this? I'm not the biggest fan of Shida. I think she's cool, you know, but outside of that, I don't she's not there enough for me to feel like, dang, I should care that she exists. Same with Riho. Like Riho pops up every blue moon and everybody goes crazy, but I don't feel anything from her either, you know?
Yeah, and I feel like the thing about Shida is I feel like she might be one of the ones getting kind of lost in the shuffle because I mean when she was kind of the main reason I was expecting her to be healed more than I was expecting Toni and Saraya to be healed.
Right.
Because it was Saraya who chose Toni to be her partner in the first place, and Shida was the one who showed her displeasure with that choice. So I thought for sure, you know, maybe it was going to be her that was turning heel when she brought out the kendo stick, and then it turns out that Dr. Baker wound up using it. And then she was looking like she was lost, like she didn't want her to do it, but then it was like they were trying to figure out what her intentions were, and that was where I thought maybe she would turn heel on them this past week, and that wound up not happening, and it wound up being Toni and Saraya, and that wound up confusing me. So I feel like with Toni and Saraya turning heel, I feel like she is getting lost in the equation and lost in the shuffle here, and it's a shame. So
I don't know.
I saw what Nikki said though.
I don't know what they would have for Shida. To be honest, I mean, outside of her being someone who came from Stardom, outside of her holding a title, and things like that, I don't know. Like, I don't know. It would be nice to see the first ever women's blood and guts match. I think that'd be really cool. It just kind of just really depends on, you know, who they choose to put within that match, though. To be honest, but I don't know. I guess I just need to watch over the next course of the weeks of how this Saraya and Toni Storm heel goes, and how it may have sound good on paper when they were, you know, discussing in the writing room, but how long is this heel turn going to last before we don't see them for, you know, or they're not, you know, doing matches or things like that. You know what I'm saying? Like they need to add, if they're gonna be heels, they need to add someone else to their little faction here. Who is gonna be? I have absolutely no idea. I can't even tell you. But if they want to add some more women to this faction here that they may be trying to put together of them being heels, then maybe it could go somewhere. But as right now, I'm up in the air with it. Whatever happens, it happens.
Right.
Hopefully something good. Something I can say about that. I don't know if I want to see all them up in there. Some people, I feel like some people could be taken out. To be honest, like she done being over there with Amy and Ruby is like, ugh. She
I
didn't
feel
go
like that would be fun.
She didn't gonna team with somebody who like Sheeta, Ruby, Willow joining forces with people that they've had some encounters with. It's crazy. Same thing with the
teamed up for Les.
honey. But That was Rampage, you guys. That was SmackDown as well. You know, I mean, there's not many on the roster to begin with, to be honest with. Ain't many subs you can pick. Hell, Thunder Rosa gonna bring her ass back. That's what's gonna happen. You got Nyla Rose still, you know. That could be utilized somehow, some way if they wanted to. That's pretty much all I can think of as of right now. You got Emma Sakura, they can go grab some people who be on Dark every week, you know, and add them somehow, some way, you know. But yeah, that was SmackDown. That was Rampage. We thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. Definitely make sure you check out the website, www.talkpod.com. Articles going on each and every day. We are trying to gear up a little bit for Black History Month and things like that. So just so you guys know. Let's see. Turnwood Glam will be on Sunday. We will be returning on Sunday. We got some new looks and all that good stuff. So yeah, y'all definitely be on the lookout for that. Yeah, I mean, you got Nyla and Marina would have to be with Saraya and Tony. Yeah, I would not be too negatively opposed to that. Homegirl never has had TV time. That ain't changing. Hey, listen, it's 2023. Anything is possible. Some people we never seen before can have so much TV time. Hell, they give him to this action guy who keeps beating up on my peoples. So I mean, hey, if anything is possible, it's possible. Definitely make sure you guys check out our socials at WTalkPod as well. Check out the Instagram, check out the Twitter. Definitely check out the YouTube channel. We got some interviews going out real soon. One is going out Monday with Ruben Hardy. Nikki did the interview with that, so definitely make sure you want to check out that because you don't want to miss it. Get to meet, you know, how the golf, the baby, and all that good jazz there too. So definitely look out for that. And that's pretty much about it. Stephanie, let everyone know where they can follow you at and everything like that.
All right. Well, always know that you can find and follow me, your girl Stephanie Hardy, on Instagram and Twitter at Queen Steph Hardy. And also you can follow and listen to my podcast, The Hardy Wrestling Podcast, everywhere you get your shows, audio, and also on YouTube at The Hardy Wrestling Podcast. I have a new episode out with Sir Wilkins of the Jobber Tears podcast because he has a really big match that I am sponsoring on tomorrow with Battle Club Pro. Welcome to New York versus What Culture Simon Miller. So please check that out and listen to that episode. We had an amazing time. And just continue to support me and my brand. Buy my t-shirts from For Your Wear. / Hardy Wrestling Podcast with Alabama Wrestling Fighters. Please check that out. And just continue to support me. And also you can catch me on Mondays on the Wild Superheroes After Show and also on this After Show as well. But I have some changes to my schedule, so you never know where you might catch me. But just know you can catch me regardless, and you will see what I've got going on if you just follow me on on the Twitter and on the Instagram. So yeah.
And that's for me. You have no other choice but to Google me, Driune Santana, Drune. That's where you can always find me. You can catch me on Turnbuckle Glam this Sunday. You can also turn back around and catch me on Monday with my tag partner Nikki, where we'll be talking about the 30th anniversary of Monday Night Raw. And then full circle again, you catch us on Impact for the Impact After Show, and then rolling back around again to Friday Night SmackDown and Rampage with me and Stephanie. Not hold on now, Queen Stephanie signed a multi-year contract, Impact Wrestling contract. I'm screaming out loud, child.
Hey, speak it. Speak
30 years is crazy. Like, I'm not even 30. I'm not even 30. And it's just like, wow, wrestling, like, Raw has been around longer than I've been born. Just like, Jesus Christ. So yeah, but thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. We thoroughly do appreciate it a lot, and continue to support us here at Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet. Bye guys, see you guys next week.
Good night.
Women's
Courtney.
Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet.